So, hello everyone. It's been a bit of a while since we've done a video like this where I'm not hiding behind Football Manager, it's just me talking to the camera, but I felt like it was the right time to do so because of some comments we've been getting on the channel recently. Not negative ones by any stretch, so don't worry, no one's saying bad things or anything like that. But you might have noticed, and some of these comments have, that the content on the channel has shifted slightly, and I'm going to talk about why that is, what you can expect going forward, and whether it's always going to be the case, as well as some general channel updates that I think need to be said that I'll quickly cover. And yeah, just talk about the general state of the channel and Football Manager as a whole right now, and where we're going to be going, both going forward for the rest of this game's life cycle, and hopefully, if a new Football Manager ever exists, what we'll be doing then too. So strap in, it's going to be me talking, hopefully you don't hate that too much. But yeah, I just wanted to get into it because I feel like this has been a long time coming, I suppose, with the channel in terms of the content taking a little bit of a shift in terms of the change of direction. I don't think it's a massive one, but let's start with where we were, which was as of, the last couple of years, doing weekly Football Manager rebuilds, one a week, where we take over X club and rebuild them. And that was great. I love doing them. I still do love doing them. I don't want to make it sound like I don't. But obviously, if you don't know the story around Football Manager recently, it's a yearly life cycle game that comes out every single year, and as such, it peaks in terms of viewership, and therefore also in terms of the money I make when the game comes out, and that balances out with the fact that in the lower months, when people aren't watching as much, usually when the game's already been out for nearly a year, there's less views, you make less, but it balances itself out. But obviously, if you don't know the story, Football Manager 25, which was meant to come out last November, that got pushed back to March, and then it got cancelled and never came out, and now we're waiting to see if there's a FM25 or an FM26, whatever they're going to call it, that comes out in this November. But as of today, recording at the end of July, we still haven't heard anything, which isn't totally unexpected, but also it's got to the point where I don't see an endpoint in sight for FM24 yet, and for that reason, I was a little bit bored, to be honest, of rebuilding the same clubs over and over again. I think you guys probably were too. I mean, maybe I rebuilt Manchester United at the start of FM24, and then of course you do it again for the 24 to 25 season, and then it gets to the point where you feel like you're just repeating yourself, and I felt a little bit bored doing it, and obviously your guys' interest I think has dwindled out in some of those videos as well. And what I started to notice was that it wasn't necessarily about the team in terms of the video performance. So instead of just rebuilding the clubs that I considered big clubs, actually, when I rebuilt the smaller teams, but there was more of a storyline or maybe some kind of twist to the rebuild, those videos did better. And I also like making them a lot more too. So I started to transition towards that in the last few months. You might have noticed some of the rebuilds that we've done have had twists where, say, I can only sign Wonder Kids or over 30s, just something to try and keep those rebuilds a bit more fresh. So for that reason, I stopped doing the weekly rebuilds. At the same time, I love seeing the other kind of content that other Football Manager YouTubers do, whether it's Omega Luke, whether it's Tom FM, Clates, whoever, where they do these kind of experimental videos, and I wanted to try some like that as well. I did one where we redid Dele Alli's career, one where we put Cristiano Ronaldo's son in the game, and these weren't rebuilds per se, it was more of a storytelling kind of simulation video, and at first those videos didn't start off very well, but if you check the channel now, those ones seem to expand a little bit and grow, and it's got to the point where in terms of viewership, those ones have done better than some of the normal rebuild style ones around them. So not only are they doing well, but I've enjoyed making them alongside the rebuilds, and what it also does is it allows for a new audience to come to the channel too, because when you're doing a Football Manager rebuild, everyone that watches is either going to be just a fan of the club or is a fan of Football Manager, whereas videos like this have a chance to bring new people in. In fact, there was a comment on the Cristiano Ronaldo video the other day saying, "What game is this?" And that's great because it means we're bringing some more eyes on the game Football Manager, and hopefully they will then translate into watching the rebuilds too. So I'm liking the mix-up currently of what we're doing right now, where we'll do a rebuild, but then the next week it might be an experiment. But it doesn't mean the rebuilds are gone. They'll be coming back, and then there'll be some kind of experimental video as well. Just mixing it up and try and keep the content as fresh as possible. Now, when we get to the next Football Manager game, if there ever is one, I will definitely be doing, the rebuilding Chelsea, rebuilding Manchester United. Of course I will. Some of those videos are some of the best I'll do, but I don't think I'll stop with the experimental stuff either. I'd like to keep incorporating that, so hopefully you guys are enjoying both kinds of content, and we can keep the channel growing and getting more eyes on it. So yeah, if you see videos that aren't necessarily rebuilds, don't worry. It doesn't mean the rebuilds are gone. They'll still be coming back. They'll still be regular. It's just that it won't be one every single week and the same type of rebuilds I've always done. Any rebuild I do now will be with some kind of twist to it and hopefully of high quality, which leads me on to the next point, which is in the last few months, I personally think the quality's gone up a massive amount. Now, I say this not in some kind of self-detrimental way, but I always put the videos out previously before, let's say the last 3 months or so, and I'd put them out and I'd think, yeah, people will enjoy them, but would I watch it? No. And that's maybe not great when you're making your own videos and you wouldn't watch them yourself. I'd got to the point where I was a little bit burnt out with it, but now I think with the new editing that we've got, and that's no slight on the old editor, he was great too, but there's been a bit more with my new editor. We're focusing on things really particularly to try and make it as good as possible, the content. But I think the quality's jumped up massively, and I could genuinely sit there now, and whilst I won't do this because I'm not sad, I could watch my own videos and probably enjoy them, and that brings me some kind of pride that I actually think the quality has gone up, and you guys seem to be recognising that too. The editing helps massively, but also it goes back all the way to the idea stage. When I'm thinking up a video now, I'm thinking up what makes this interesting, not just, okay, here's X team, here's X rebuild, let's do it. I'm trying to make something that will actually be good for you guys to watch, which sounds obvious, but I don't think it's always been like that for me. And now it's got to the point where I really am proud of what we're doing, and I want to keep putting out quality content like that. And it means that sometimes videos might not be weekly. Now, they almost definitely will. I like putting out a video every week. I like making a video every week, so you can still expect that. But if there's sometimes a weekend where something doesn't come out, there'll be a reason. Like this week, for example, I had made a whole video and it was meant to come out on the Sunday just gone, but I didn't post it because I didn't think the quality was high enough. And yeah, that's new for me. Usually I just go, yeah, let's put it out anyway because I've put the work into it. But I'm enjoying what we're doing at the minute so much that I don't just want to suddenly put out a worse video, which in comparison to what we have been doing, just isn't as good. I want to keep up the quality. And for that reason, yeah, you might see that there might be a delay every now and then on a weekend where a video doesn't come out. But just know I am working on something. For example, what will be coming out after this video is, I think, my longest ever rebuild, my best ever rebuild, and definitely the hardest rebuild I've ever done. I've been working on it for a long time, so hopefully you guys will enjoy it when it comes out. But yeah, the rebuilds aren't going anywhere. There's more experimental videos as well. We're going to mix it up. So don't worry, if you're only here for one of those types of content, you'll still get your videos. Hopefully you're here for both though. And maybe when we get towards FM26, I can do more of those 3 or 4 part series, like what I did with Dorking recently, where you can kind of get attached to the players a little bit because you do a few episodes here and there. But that's the main portion of what I wanted to cover in today's video, just about the change up in the content. But there's a few other things I should mention too. Firstly, this doesn't really mean anything to you guys, but just to let you know the situation, that I was originally doing 2 days working on these YouTube videos, both for FM Scout and this channel, and then 3 days in my working week I'd actually be in my office job, but that shifted recently in the last half a year or so to the point where I'm now doing 4 days in my office job and 1 on YouTube, partly because of the fact that views are down and income's down because of a change in Football Manager not coming out, so I needed more sustainable income, but also I'm planning to hopefully buy a place someday soon, so to have that more consistent income that isn't fluctuating, that's going to be a benefit. So there's less time for me to record, but it shouldn't ever affect what comes out on this channel, so don't worry about that. You should still be seeing the 1 video a week here on the Jake Cooper channel. Then the other thing I wanted to mention is channel memberships. Now, if you don't know what they are, they're basically on YouTube here where you can subscribe using YouTube Premium. It really helps me. I get a few pounds back from it for each member, and there's different tiers and things I give back. But realistically, I don't think I've been doing a good enough job with them in terms of keeping up with the promises, particularly since I've started my Patreon, which is where the majority of people are. There's only a handful of people on YouTube memberships, but because I don't think I'm delivering what they're paying for, I'm going to stop the YouTube memberships. If people there that are using that still want to support me, you can support me on Patreon, but for now, I'm going to put a hold to them. Maybe I'll rethink them down the line and make them better, but a lot of the content that I want to provide for them, I'm providing on the Patreon platform, so yeah, if there's ever a way to support me, it's on the Patreon, not the channel memberships, I think, at least right now. So for now, if you are on a channel membership, I'm going to put a hold to that because I don't think that I'm delivering what you guys are giving me back. So just to let you know, channel memberships won't be available soon. But then I just want to look ahead to the future. Firstly, to say a massive thank you for all the support that you've given me to the point where this can even be a job in any sense. So a massive thanks for that. Obviously, recently we've got the FM Kit Creator have sponsored a few videos. There'll still be a few more in that sponsorship coming out yet, which is great because it helps me get some more funds to pay the editors and the thumbnail designers to make these videos look better and more appealing and just make better content overall. So a big thanks for supporting things like that. Hopefully there'll be more to come down the line. But in terms of what we're going to be doing going forward, nothing's really going to change. We're going to do more experiments, more rebuilds. If there is a new Football Manager, which I'm sure there will be, I'll also be doing some videos at the start of that coming out, like evergreen tutorials, how I find wonder kids, how I scout, how I make my tactics, all of that good stuff, so that people can watch that content and hopefully move on to some of the other more fun stuff that we do, the Let's Plays, the rebuilds, the experiments. But I think the channel's looking brighter than it ever has done in terms of the quality that's going out and the future of it. Hopefully soon. I mean, it's taken a long time to get there. I've been aiming for it for a long while. I know people could have done it way quicker than me, but when I reach 50k subs, that'll be a huge milestone, and we're not far from it now. Current timeline frame, it looks like it's going to be in the next half a year or so, but obviously if there's a new Football Manager and more eyes come onto the channel, maybe that'll be sooner rather than later. So yeah, a big thank you for all the support. Honestly, every comment, like, view, it's helped us get to this point where I feel like I can actually really focus on the quality of the content. If you're still watching to this point, feel free to get involved in the comments, because I always do like to reply to as many as I can and have a chat with you guys. But yeah, just thought I'd give a bit of an update. Not as flashy and front-facing as some of these Football Manager videos have been, not high concept, just me talking to a camera, but I felt like it was about time to do one. So hopefully you've got the info you needed, and I'll see you in the next video, which, like I say, is probably going to be my hardest rebuild ever.